In Navajo mythology, Coyote, also known as Mą'ii, is a fascinating trickster who represents chaos, cleverness, and change. Unlike the other Diindine or holy people, with specific roles, Coyote's unpredictable nature lets him move between different worlds, challenging order and creating change. His adventures are full of mischief and important lessons that highlight the balance between creation and destruction, life and death. Through his actions, Coyote teaches the value of being adaptable and strong, showing that wisdom can come from chaos. This is the story of Coyote, the trickster of Navajo mythology. Coyote's origin, unlike many of the other holy people in Navajo mythology, is wrapped in mystery. He has no clear birth or origin story. Rather, he seems to have always existed, embodying the spirit of chaos, cunning, and transformation. In this sense, Coyote is different from other figures like First Man and First Woman, who had specific roles in the creation of the world. Coyote is not bound by any one role or responsibility. His nature is fluid, capable of both helping and hindering the progress of the universe. This mysterious quality makes Coyote one of the most intriguing figures in Navajo mythology. He is not just a simple trickster, but a being who constantly shifts between identities. He can take on the appearance of a human, animal, or even a spirit depending on what suits his goals at the moment. He is unpredictable, which is what makes him both dangerous and necessary in the grand order of things. Coyote thrives on disorder, yet his disruptions often lead to profound change and growth. From the very beginning, Coyote establishes himself as a force that the gods and humans alike must contend with. He disrupts plans, causes problems, and often challenges authority. Yet, he also offers wisdom through his actions, sometimes accidentally, and other times with intentional trickery. As a trickster figure, Coyote does not operate within the usual moral codes, but this gives him a unique freedom to explore the boundaries of the universe in ways others cannot. His power comes from his ability to operate outside the conventional rules, making him both revered and feared by the other beings in the Navajo cosmos. While other holy people are connected to specific elements of nature or human life, Coyote stands apart because his domain is uncertainty itself. He thrives in the unknown, in the spaces where the outcome is never clear. It is this aspect of his nature that makes him such an integral part of the Navajo worldview. Life, after all, is unpredictable, and Coyote is the embodiment of that unpredictability. Without chaos, there can be no growth, no transformation, and no evolution. Coyote's role in the cosmos is to constantly remind the holy people and humans that nothing is ever static. His presence ensures that complacency never sets in, and that the world continues to evolve, even if it means destruction must come before creation. This dual nature of Coyote is what makes him so complex and important. He is not evil, but neither is he wholly good. Instead, he exists in the in-between spaces, where possibility and danger meet. His actions are sometimes selfish, but they can also lead to greater wisdom for others, even if that wisdom comes through suffering or hardship. Coyote's origins highlight his role as a force that is beyond simple categorization, a being who brings about necessary change, even if that change is not always welcome. Coyote's appearance varies based on the story. In his animal form, he resembles a typical coyote with sharp eyes, quick movements, and a bushy tail, often depicted as burned from past mischief. In human or hybrid form, Coyote may walk upright but retains coyote-like features such as fur, sharp features, or a tail, reflecting his dual nature as both animal and trickster spirit. His appearance, whether animal or human, symbolizes his fluid identity and his role as a boundary crosser between worlds, embodying unpredictability and transformation. Coyote, known for his trickster nature, possesses a variety of powers that allow him to navigate between worlds and influence events in both the human and spirit realms. One of his most notable abilities is shapeshifting, enabling him to transform into various forms, including animals, humans, and spirits. In addition to shapeshifting, Coyote can manipulate natural elements like fire and water, as seen in his theft of fire for humanity. His primary strength, however, lies in his illusion and deception. He is a master trickster who can fool both gods and humans with his clever schemes. Though many of his tricks lead to chaos, they often reveal deeper wisdom, reflecting his role as a teacher of life's unpredictable lessons. Coyote's resilience is another notable trait. Despite frequently facing trouble or punishment, he always survives and returns, symbolizing the enduring presence of chaos and change in the universe. His ability to recover from setbacks underscores his immortal nature, making him a constant force in Navajo mythology. In the Navajo creation myth, the world consists of multiple layers, with the holy people and humans having to move from one world to the next, each time ascending to a higher plane. This journey from the lower worlds to the upper ones is a crucial part of the mythological narrative, and Coyote plays a pivotal role in the transition between these worlds, though not in the way one might expect from a hero or a guide. At one point, during the early stages of creation, the holy people and other beings resided in one of the lower worlds, a place of water, where chaos reigned. The journey upward to the higher worlds was fraught with challenges, and the beings of that world needed to cooperate to survive. However, cooperation was not Coyote's way. True to his nature, Coyote saw opportunities in disruption. In this story, Water Monster, Te'eyanunes, a powerful and dangerous being, guarded the waters of the lower world. Water Monster had a child, a small creature that was precious to him, and all other beings knew better than to interfere with it. However, Coyote, driven by his sense of mischief and curiosity, decided to steal Water Monster's child, setting off a chain of events that would change the course of creation. Coyote's theft of Water Monster's child enraged the beast, and in its anger, Water Monster caused a massive flood to cover the world. The waters rose rapidly, threatening to destroy everything in their path. The holy people and humans were forced to act quickly, but there was little they could do to stop the flood. It was clear that this world was no longer inhabitable, and they had no choice but to escape. This is where Coyote's role becomes paradoxically helpful. Though it was his trickery that caused the flood, the disaster he created forced the beings of that world to move upward to the next plane of existence, thus continuing their journey of spiritual evolution. The floodwaters that could have been a symbol of destruction became the vehicle for progress. The holy people were able to ascend to the fourth world, the one in which humans now live. Coyote's actions here reflect his complex nature. His mischief brings chaos, but from that chaos comes growth and transformation. Without Coyote's interference, the beings might have remained in the lower world indefinitely, delaying their path toward higher understanding and enlightenment. By causing the flood, Coyote unwittingly fulfilled his cosmic role as an agent of change, pushing the world toward the next stage of its development. In the Navajo legends, this incident underscores the belief that creation often arises from destruction. Coyote's actions frequently seem reckless or harmful, yet they often lead to necessary shifts that allow life to continue evolving. While the other holy people sought to maintain order and balance, Coyote introduced the unpredictability that made true progress possible. This pattern would repeat throughout many of his stories, where his interference disrupts the status quo, but in doing so opens the door for something new and important to emerge. Coyote, in his own chaotic way, ensured that this process would continue, regardless of the discomfort it caused. One of the most profound and consequential actions Coyote takes in Navajo mythology is his involvement in the creation of death. In the early days of the world, as the holy people were shaping the laws that would govern the universe, one of the most significant debates arose: should humans live forever, or should they experience death? The holy people, including First Man, First Woman, and others, deliberated this matter carefully. Many of them believed that life should be eternal and that humans should never die. After all, if death were to exist, it would bring sorrow and suffering, and they wanted to protect humanity from such pain. Eternal life seemed like a perfect solution, ensuring that no one would ever have to face loss or the fear of an ending. However, Coyote disagreed. He saw the dangers in immortality that the other holy people did not fully understand. In his view, if people never died, the world would soon become overcrowded, resources would run out, and there would be no space for new life. More importantly, he understood that without death, life would lose its meaning. Without an end, people would take their existence for granted, and the significance of every moment would diminish. Coyote's perspective was that death, while painful, was necessary to maintain balance in the world. He believed that by creating death, the universe would establish a cycle of renewal. Each death would make room for new life, and the world would continue to thrive in a natural, sustainable way. As the debate continued, Coyote grew impatient. He often acted when he felt others were taking too long, and this situation was no different. While the holy people were still discussing the merits of eternal life versus death, Coyote made a decisive move. He deliberately closed the door to the underworld, ensuring that once a person died, they could not return to the living world. This act sealed humanity's fate. Death became a permanent part of existence. When the holy people discovered what Coyote had done, there was great sorrow. Many of them were upset, as they had hoped to avoid the pain of loss for humans. Yet Coyote's actions could not be undone. Death was now a reality, and it would forever be a part of the human experience. Though Coyote's interference caused sadness, over time, the holy people came to understand that his decision was, in fact, necessary. The creation of death introduced an important balance to the world. Just as the seasons change, life and death became part of a natural cycle that allowed for growth, renewal, and regeneration. Without death, the world would stagnate and the beauty of life would be lost in an endless, unchanging existence. Through his disruptive action, Coyote gave the universe one of its most fundamental truths, that all things must end so that new things can begin. This story also touches on deeper philosophical questions that the Navajo and many cultures grapple with. What is the meaning of life without death? Coyote's decision forces humans to confront the reality of their mortality, but it also gives them the opportunity to live with greater purpose. The knowledge that life is finite imbues each moment with significance, driving humans to cherish their time, their relationships, and their actions. Coyote's actions often introduce pain or hardship, but they also lead to deeper wisdom and understanding. In this case, Coyote's trickery is not simply an act of mischief. It is a profound lesson about the nature of existence. For the Navajo, this story explains why death exists and why it is a necessary part of life. The inevitability of death encourages people to live fully, to respect the natural cycles of the world, and to accept that all things, both good and bad, must come to an end. Hey everyone, just a quick intermission here. I wanted to say thank you for watching this video. It really means a lot to me. Did you know that over 80% of you who are watching right now aren't subscribed to the channel? If you've enjoyed this content so far, it would be incredible if you could hit that subscribe button. It's a small gesture, but it really helps the channel grow and ensures that you won't miss any more of our fascinating stories we explore together. Also, if you're feeling generous, please give this video a thumbs up, leave a comment, and share with anyone else who may enjoy it. Your support really does make a difference and keeps the content coming. Thanks again, and let's get back to the story. Coyote's adventures span across a wide array of Navajo stories, each filled with his characteristic trickery, mischief, and chaotic influence. These tales range from comical to serious, but they all serve a deeper purpose, offering lessons about human nature, the natural world, and the balance between order and chaos. Unlike other mythological figures bound to strict roles or duties, Coyote is constantly evolving, adapting to circumstances, and his actions often have unpredictable outcomes. In one of his well-known adventures, Coyote attempts to bring fire to humanity. In the early days of the world, humans suffered because they had no fire to cook their food or warm themselves in the cold. The holy people, however, guarded fire, believing that humans were not yet ready for such a powerful gift. Coyote, always eager to challenge authority, decided to steal the fire and deliver it to the people. In this story, Coyote visits the gods who hold the fire in the sacred mountains. He observes that the fire is fiercely guarded by spirits and animals, who take turns watching over it. Coyote, using his cleverness, waits until the guards are distracted and seizes the opportunity to snatch a burning ember. In his haste to flee, Coyote tucks the ember beneath his tail to keep it hidden as he runs toward the humans. However, the ember burns his tail, leaving it singed and scorched. While Coyote manages to deliver the fire to humans, thus improving their lives by giving them warmth and the ability to cook their food, he also pays the price for his impulsiveness. His tail is permanently burnt, and in some stories this explains why coyotes in the wild have a distinctive bushy tail that looks slightly charred. This story highlights several key traits of Coyote: his ability to outwit others, his willingness to take risks, and the unintended consequences of his actions. In another adventure, Coyote encounters a group of birds who are holding a ceremonial dance. Intrigued, Coyote asks to join them, but the birds, knowing his reputation for mischief, are hesitant. They eventually agree, but only if Coyote promises to behave and not disrupt their dance. Coyote eagerly agrees, but as the dance progresses, he becomes restless. His natural desire for attention and chaos bubbles up, and despite his promise, he begins to mimic the birds' movements in an exaggerated and foolish way. At first, the birds laugh, amused by Coyote's antics. However, as he continues to mock their dance, the birds grow frustrated. Coyote's actions, once playful, become disrespectful, and the birds ask him to leave. Feeling embarrassed and angry, Coyote leaves in a huff, cursing the birds. Later, he regrets his behavior, realizing that his need to be the center of attention cost him the opportunity to participate in something meaningful. This story illustrates Coyote's impulsiveness and his tendency to push things too far. His desire to entertain and disrupt often leads to temporary enjoyment, but ultimately alienates him from others. While Coyote's tricks can be humorous, they often backfire, leaving him isolated or humiliated. The lesson here is about the importance of knowing when to stop, when to respect boundaries, and when to recognize that not everything is a game or an opportunity for trickery. Throughout these and many other adventures, Coyote's actions provide both entertainment and wisdom. His stories are often humorous, filled with absurd situations and clever tricks, but they also carry deeper meanings about human behavior, morality, and the balance between wisdom and folly. Coyote's adventures remind the Navajo, and those who hear these stories, that life is full of unpredictability, and that even the wisest among us can be fools at times. Coyote's many adventures are also significant because they show his adaptability. Whether he's stealing fire, participating in ceremonial dances, or misusing magical stones, Coyote is always learning, always evolving. He is a survivor, someone who thrives in changing circumstances. This adaptability is one of the reasons why the coyote animal itself holds such symbolic power across Native American cultures. Just like the mythical coyote, the animal is seen as resourceful, resilient, and capable of thriving in almost any environment. Coyote's role within Navajo beliefs extends far beyond his individual adventures or his mischievous acts. He represents a fundamental aspect of the Navajo understanding of the universe, embodying the unpredictable and ever-changing nature of existence. His importance lies in his function as a boundary crosser, someone who operates between worlds, between states of being, and between moral categories of right and wrong. In Navajo mythology, much emphasis is placed on maintaining balance and harmony, both in the natural world and in human society. The Navajo concept of Hozo, which refers to beauty, balance, and order, is central to their spiritual and philosophical outlook. The holy people are seen as custodians of this balance, guiding humanity toward living in harmony with nature and each other. However, Coyote's presence ensures that this balance is never static or unchallenged. While the holy people work to uphold order and balance, Coyote introduces chaos, disorder, and unpredictability. He disrupts plans, breaks rules, and defies authority. But his role is not one of pure destruction. Rather, it is to remind the universe that true balance must include change, conflict, and adaptation. Without the disruptions caused by Coyote, there would be no growth, no evolution, and no transformation. The Navajo understand that life is full of contradictions and uncertainties, and Coyote's actions embody this truth. He is not an evil figure. He does not seek to destroy for the sake of destruction. Instead, he highlights the need for balance between order and chaos. His tricks and schemes may create disorder, but they also force the holy people and humans alike to adapt, to learn, and to move forward. Nothing exists in isolation, and opposites must coexist. Just as there can be no light without darkness, there can be no order without chaos. Coyote's antics teach the Navajo that even when life seems to be thrown into disarray, there is often a deeper purpose at play. His trickery may seem random, but it often leads to greater wisdom or a necessary change in perspective. Moreover, Coyote's ability to move between worlds, between the human world, the spirit world, and the animal world, makes him a mediator of sorts. He exists on the fringes of these realms, crossing boundaries that other beings cannot or will not cross. Coyote's role as a boundary crosser is especially important in Navajo ceremonial practices. He appears in stories and songs during certain ceremonies as a symbol of the unpredictable nature of life. For example, during the Nightway ceremony, which is one of the most important healing rituals in Navajo culture, Coyote's stories may be recited to remind participants of the need to embrace change and uncertainty. The Nightway ceremony seeks to restore harmony to those who are sick or out of balance, and Coyote's influence serves as a reminder that healing is not always a linear process. Coyote also plays a part in teaching humility. Despite his cleverness, many of his schemes backfire, and he often ends up suffering the consequences of his own actions. This is a valuable lesson for humans, as it teaches the importance of self-awareness and the dangers of hubris. Coyote's missteps show that even the most cunning or powerful can fall victim to their own pride or greed. In this way, he serves as a cautionary figure, warning against arrogance and the assumption that one can control all outcomes. Coyote, as a trickster figure, highlights the idea that animals possess wisdom and agency of their own. In many Navajo stories, Coyote outwits humans, demonstrating that the natural world should not be underestimated. His cleverness reminds people to respect the world around them, understanding that even creatures who seem small or insignificant have their own important roles to play. Coyote's unpredictability also reflects the Navajo understanding of fate and destiny. In many cultures, there is a belief in a predetermined path or a fixed destiny, but Coyote's actions remind the Navajo that life is far more uncertain. The twists and turns of fate, much like Coyote's tricks, are often beyond human control. This understanding encourages a more fluid and flexible approach to life, where people learn to adapt and find meaning in unexpected circumstances. In conclusion, Coyote's importance in Navajo beliefs lies in his representation of life's complexities. He teaches through his mistakes, challenges through his disruptions, and reminds the Navajo that balance is not about avoiding chaos, but learning to navigate it. His stories are a reminder that even in times of uncertainty, there is wisdom to be gained, and that true harmony comes from embracing both the light and the dark, the ordered and the chaotic.